Our first presenter is Tobia De Siati, who is an Italian singer, musician, and composer. After a bachelor's thesis in film music, it is currently working on its master's degree at Università di Pavia, with a thesis in popular music studies on cultural heritage and musical genre hybridization in the discography of the Norwegian metal band Enslaved. Since 2012, Tobia has focused his musical efforts mainly on metal music, sharing the stage with national and international bands. With its main band, Vertrarnot, sorry if I did not pronounce it right, it's been touring Italy and Europe since 2018 and is currently working on an album about the cultural and historical heritage of ancient Italy. Its presentation is titled De Ferro Italico, uncovering the Italic Pagan past in the music of Draugr. It is up to you now, Tobia. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me. I'm very happy to participate in this conference. It's my first conference, so please be kind and be patient to me. I'll share my screen now. So, a premise before starting. I have conducted my research by doing interviews to the musicians that were the most prominent in Draugr's history. I haven't been able to transcribe, translate, and edit the interviews, so I think I will be working on this part in the next few days and months. So I wanted to dedicate this paper and my research to Johnny, as this is the 10th year since his departure. I will be translating in Italian my paper, and I will bring it to the 10th memorial in June. So I'll try to jump through the timeline as fast as I can. You can see on the right there's the old logo for the Draugr band. The timeline is more detailed in my research, but basically the band went from having a more typically black metal theme to being more in line with Viking metal when changing name to Draugr. That's why you can see the Futhark runes on the logo. And between 2003 and 2004, there has been a shift with the focus on the Samnite and Italic pantheon, mythology, and culture. Today I will be talking about the two albums that the band produced, which are Nocturnal Pagan Supremacy and Ferro Italico. And I will just go with Nocturnal Pagan Supremacy. Nocturnal Pagan Supremacy is a black metal album with influences from the first wave of black metal, thrash metal, and Viking metal. It's not so focused on the Italic cultural heritage as the next album would be, but the one song I really wanted to talk about is the title song for the album, as it's the one that's the most focused on the Italic pantheon and cultural heritage. You can see a quote on the screen. The first part is like a anthem for the Italic population. Vitulia is the Latin version of the ancient Italy name, which is Vitelieu. And the second part are some gods evoked in the lyrics. Oh, I will correct this. Amma is Ammai Kyriai. Then we have Mamerte, who is Mars, Ares, Vetske, the god of vengeance. And this song is actually pretty much focused on Italic culture, and that's why it sounds different compared to the rest of the album, having flutes on one part. Another particular song of this album is Furore Pagano, which is the only song with Italian lyrics. you can you have a quote on the screen from the song, and there's translations if you want to learn more about the Italian lyrics in these albums. This song is particular as it has another folk element, which is the diatonic button accordion, or organetto abruzzese in this case. And I think I can make you listen to what I transcribed on the sheet of music. Wait. I think it's enough. This part of the song actually refers to the folk music dance from Abruzzo that's called the saltarello. That's why the transcription is in 6/8 time, as that's the way it's written in the Abruzzo folk music. From Nocturnal Pagan Supremacy to the second album, there has been a shift. Here we can see how the band presented itself at the time of publishing Nocturnal Pagan Supremacy. But in 2007, there was a strong shift. And you can see in the costumes I'm showing right now. I think these costumes are particular as they combine not only the more war inclined themes of like the battle vest, but also have the sheep wool. And sheep is one of the most important animals of Abruzzo for different reasons, and the right of transumanza. After 2007, before the shift, before publishing the second album, there's been some even further changes in the costumes. You can see some artworks for the costumes here, and this is the final version of the costumes. In 2011, the Ferro Italico was independently published by the band. The Ferro Italico is a parahistorical concept album about the exploits of a devoted Italic Pagan warriors group who, after the proclamation of the Theodosian decree of 392 AD, must desperately fight against the power of Rome. The Theodosian decree of 392 made it illegal for people that lived in the Roman Empire to practice pagan cults, and it punished pagans with the death penalty, actually. So this feels like a very strong concept to base an album on. I will show you an extract for the Legio Linteata music video, which was shot in the archaeological site of Alba Fucens. So here it is. Hopefully. Oh, geez. Okay. I think I will link the video later. I'm sorry, I didn't know that this would happen. It was working fine yesterday. Sorry. So the Ferro Italico as a concept album revolves mostly on our main character, which is the wolf warrior. The wolf warrior gets chosen by an augur, a Roman pagan seer, in the third song of the album, which is called L'augure e il lupo, the augur and the wolf. And the story of the pagan wolf warrior follows the monomyth or the hero's journey theme popularized by Joseph Campbell's in The Hero with a Thousand Faces, but the way the monomyth is used in the album is more it's more linear to Vogler's monomyth. It follows all the 12 steps of Vogler's monomyth, but one, which is the renouncing, the refusal of the call, as one couldn't refuse a call if the other way around would be death penalty, I think. So the album is in line with the monomyth. Another theme strong in the album is the inevitable fight between brothers. This is a theme that was used a lot in Roman historiography. It's present in the tale of the Orazzi and Curiazzi kings. Orazzi and Curiazzi were two triplets and were also cousins, and they had to fight till the death to solve a dispute between Rome and Alba Longa, which were related by having Romulus as the founder of Rome and one of the people of Alba Longa. This theme is used in the last song, the Ferro Italico, as the pagan wolf warrior coming back at the end of the hero's journey, coming back to the battlefield and to his legion, finds on the battlefield his long lost brother who converted to Christianity and is now a Rome general, and the two fight to the death, ultimately killing each other, but embracing each other in that death and dying with pride standing. Another theme used in the album is the one of the four seasons, of course, reference to Vivaldi, as the seasons are, the season order is the same as for Vivaldi. The first song about the season is Versacrum, which is the sacred spring rite, which is a foundation, the right to found new colonies. Then we have Legio Linteata about summer, and Ballata d'autunno, which is a ballad of fall, and Inverno, which is a winter. Close the theme of the four seasons. The last theme I wanted to talk about is the one about faith. At a superficial reading, this album may seem anti-Christian and pro-pagan in its nature, but it's actually anti-religion, as during the last fight between the two brothers, it's the sun shining on the pagan wolf warriors that blinding the Roman wolf warrior allows our hero to finish his brother so that they can embrace in their final moments. This means that the true meaning, also the augur's prophecy from the second song, doesn't come true, even though our hero has done everything in his power to follow through the prophecy. So it comes out that faith in religion is badly placed. It's not about being pagan or Christian. It's about believing in nature, actually, and in your own kin, your own blood. A particular thing about the Ferro Italico is the use of 5 languages. The second song in the album, which is the lead track, is the Vitulian Empire. The Vitulian Empire was one of the first lyrics written for the album and is completely in English, apart from some Latin parts. Then we have Italian, which is the most prominently used language, Latin, Umbrian for Suaveta Aurelia, and Oscan for Legio Linteata. The use of the Latin language is mostly done by Svafnir, who studied Latin in high school, by writing his own lyrics, but there are also some quotes from Levi and Cato. Oscan language is used for the battle cry of the Hirpini population, which is one of the Samnites population, Hirpu Herpe Tahekui, which means the wolves fight for freedom. And the Umbrian in Suover Taurilia comes from the Iguvine tablets, which are some archaeological findings of slabs of bronze with inscriptions detailing a cleansing ritual for the community. I think it's particular the use of 5 languages in the album, as the Osco-Umbrian populations were at least speaking 3 languages, which were the local, the mother tongue, then Latin, and also Greek, due to the huge Greek influence on the South Italian, central to South Italian peninsula. So the languages used mimic the cultural heritage, the linguistical heritage of the Osco-Umbrian population. Another particular trait of this album is the acoustic soundscape, which uses the organetto abruzzese, or which is diatonic baton harp, flute, bagpipes, and the jaw harp to express the Italic cultural identity. There are also used other folk instruments, and there's also the brass section, which is more in line in representing the Roman cultural identity. There's a huge use of Abruzzo's folk music references, as there are virtually none findings of Samnite music throughout history. We have something about the Etruscan music, and of course we have a lot of informations about Roman music, which directly came out of Etruscan music, but we have no information at all about the music of the Samnite populations. And this is why the use of folk music, traditional music from Abruzzo, manages to build up on the cultural identity, on the creation of the cultural identity. Another particular thing about the album is the use of nature speech compared to war sound. There are lots of animal cries in the albums, and they are used not only in a dramatic way, but also in a rhythmic way, enforcing the soundscape of the album. There's also a huge use of nature sound effects, mostly hooves of horses riding to battle, footsteps crushing leaves, and the wind blowing through tree branches, while the sounds of war that are used in the albums are less. We have some cries of battle in the first and last songs, and then we have the clash of swords, but there is not much less, further improving the concept that nature is the central element of the relationship with nature is the central element of the album. Concerning the aesthetic of the album, there's a huge shift between the blue and purplish tones of Nocturnal Pagan Supremacy to the earthy tones of orange, yellow, and red, which are on the opposite chromatic scales to those. These colors are used not only to reflect the immersion into the themes of nature, war, and antiquity, but also to match the costumes and the reproduction of ancient clothing in this album. Another particular part of this album is the use of archaeological findings in its booklet, which I will show both on screen and on the booklet. We have the coin of the social war, which is in here. There's also the Cardiophylax bronze plate. The one you see on the screen is the bard's armor, that you can see here on the booklet. And this transcription is from the Duenos inscription vases, which is another archaeological findings. Lastly, the album covers and of course spec sport the use of the South Picene language slab that is found in Chieti's archaeological museum, and being Chieti the town where Draugr are born. All of these elements help to convey cultural memory. It's done in a way that's similar to what the artists of Papua New Guinea were doing with the Cambot storyboards. There is no actual connection between modern Italy and these far ancient and hidden and erased past, as the Roman Empire has done all in its power to, the Christian Roman Empire has done everything in its power, not only to suppress these population, but also to erase pagan culture from Italy. This happened because there was a cultural monopoly held by Christian priests in Italy for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they wouldn't show interest in copying texts texts that couldn't be that were of particular literary value, or that could be read in a Christian way. The best example of this being Virgilio, who is the most copied author of the Middle Ages. Some of the rituals, the pagan rituals that were practiced in Italy, were converted by Christianity and tied to the tradition of martyrs and saints, making it way harder to distinguish what rituals were actually pagan in nature. And one example for the Abruzzo region is the ritual of the serpents of the city of Cocullo, which is a ritual tied to the cult of Angizia, but it's now still practiced as a ritual for Saint Dominic, San Domenico. What Draugr have done with the Ferro Italico is create a bridge that can keep the cultural memory alive, and by uncovering cultural heritage, they're also creating culture and allowing more people to learn about things that in Italy do not get taught in schools at all. There's no celebration in Italy of the pre-Christian non-Roman culture. Even I have done classical studies for high schools. None of these arguments were ever taught to me in my high school, and I've learned about these things because I've managed to see a live show from Draugr in 2013. And this has led not only me, but other people to develop a curiosity that translates not only to learning more about the Samnite population and the Abruzzo regional heritage, but also their own local heritage and their regional culture. One last thing I wanted to say is that the way that Draugr created their myths is similar to what the Italic populations were doing with language to differentiate themselves. If you look to Mnemon, which is a really good site about ancient languages, you can notice that a lot of Italic populations that were close to each other, communicating with each other, having having so much in common, being allies in war and so on, created new letters to express the same phoneme. And this was done to affirm a cultural identity that is built on difference, on differences. And it's the same thing that Draugr have done. They never affirmed to be black metal or folk metal or Viking metal. They created their own term with Italic Hordish metal, and they are not Christian, and they are not pagan. They are not Romans, they are not Greeks, and they are not barbaroi. I'm using this term to not offend anyone, as it's not meant to offend anyone. Draugr are the sons of Abruzzo, and they should be celebrated as that.